A truck backs into your dock, the driver shuts their engine off, and a meter that you can't see anywhere on a screen, well, it starts running and the clock is ticking now. 2 hours later, that meter is charging you $50 to $100 depending on your freight rate and your contract with your carrier. And the worst part is, nobody in the facility even knows, and more likely, they might not even care. Now multiply that by every trailer, every driver, every shipment, every single day. A recent industry by ATRI put the detention cost north of $14 billion per year. And only about 29% of carriers collect what they bill for. You know what that means? It means that detention cost is buried right into your line haul and freight rate. I'm Glenn. I spend my days inside yards and on docks looking at exactly where time is leaked and cost is an opportunity. I'll show you 4 things that drive your detention up and what you can do about each one starting now. And number 1 is the one that almost every facility gets wrong starting on day 1. Let's start with the first place that detention gets created. And it's not at the dock, which is where most think. It's at your gate. And oftentimes it's the planning up until the gate. And every operations leader has seen it. 6 trucks show up at the exact same time, and all of a sudden, we've got massive congestion. And you might even have it where police show up because you back up to a public road. One driver walks into a guard shack with paperwork, then a second, and the list goes on and on and on. You've got a big queue. And all of a sudden, one driver can't find the appointment number. So they're looking on their paperwork, they're calling their dispatch, and all of a sudden, those other drivers, well, they can't get into the facility. And that shot clock has already started. Someone's making a phone call to leadership because you have waste. But unfortunately, it just gets drowned out in all of the noise. Meanwhile, nothing's actually moving. The trailer hasn't progressed toward the door. The driver, well, they're standing in line waiting. Nothing's been loaded, nothing's being unloaded, everything's stale. But that shot clock we talked about, well, it's already rising. This is one reason why I spend so much time talking about gate operations. It's that first touch point into your network, and it's where most waste happens. If a driver takes 20 minutes getting checked in, well, it's 20 minutes that they're not generating revenue on the road. You've burned the value-added time already before the load has even entered the building. The frequent mistake that shippers take and retailers take is that detention is often viewed as the carrier problem. But in fact, it's your network problem. It's a measure of velocity. It's a measure of throughput. The facilities that get it right, they remove the bottleneck. It's a team game. It's not just carriers. It's not just AR and AP. It's a throughput game. How do I run my network as efficiently and effectively as possible? Now let's talk about the most expensive clock in your operation that isn't visible. It's that 2-hour detention clock. When that driver arrives on time and those 2 hours are up, the bills, well, they're starting to rack up. You're just not going to see them for 30 days or 60 days. And here's what usually happens. Truck arrives, waits in line, they get checked in, load gets staged, and all of a sudden, in our warehouse staff, they're not only focused on that driver, but that driver's dispatcher is and their finance team is, because you're paying for it one way or another. The reality is no one intentionally lets loads sit or trailers sit. But the fact is the lack of transparency, and that is what causes detention to be a $15 billion problem in our industry per year. Nobody was watching the clock when they should have been. The most painful part of this is that inherently supply chain operators are firefighters. If they knew it was racking up right away, they'd probably do something about it. But the invoice doesn't show up for 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. Then all of a sudden the arguments happen. And when you're arguing about facts that happened months ago, you're trying to stitch a story together that people don't have time to. Because operations, they're firefighting now's problems. Not yesterday's, not a week ago, not 2 months ago. That's just how operations teams work. The reason these disputes are so painful is because one side isn't lying. It's because no one has reliable information that has the singular version of the truth. So what I found is the best, well, that shot clock is visible in the moment. AI is powering alerts in real time. Supervisors are getting access and information 30 minutes before the clock even starts to build. And with that, you've got a single version of truth between the shipping facility and the carrier, or on the receiving side, the receiver and the carrier and your customer. Getting transparency, getting that singular version of the truth is critical for you to take action before it's too late. Now let's talk about one common thing that everybody hates. We all despise paper. Well, it's a real burden. The fact is so many people waste countless hours per day and per year chasing a piece of paper. You don't have the freight photo when you need it. And that piece of paper all of a sudden exacerbates so many other issues in this disconnected supply chain. So what do the best of the best do? Well, they get rid of paper. Yes, you're going to have a PDF document, but you have a digital chain of custody event. You have an electronic bill of lading that acts as a packet, and that packet captures all of the shipment attributes: your order information, your carrier, your shipper, your consignee, the chain of custody events with freight photo, seal photo, in any disputes. It's all clean and legible. And the best part, since it's digitally native, AI can read that information and extract metadata off in a structured format. You have real truth, and that singular document is shared all across the board. Shipper, receiver, carrier, and broker, it's that same document. So one may ask, well, if I've got digital paperwork, an electronic bill of lading packet, are all my problems resolved? Well, there is a root cause that still needs to be really attacked, and let's get into that. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Detention definitely doesn't start at the dock. And although I said it starts at the gate, I did mention it really is planning that matters, because it starts days earlier with appointment scheduling. But if you're running an appointed network, well, you better understand ETAs and you better know your throughput, because all of a sudden, as soon as one thing gets out of whack, it snowballs into a much bigger problem. Part of it is they're limited by bandwidth. There's only so many resources that can load a truck per time slot. You need to balance your prime slots. You've got to look at live versus drops as well. If you just let carriers pick random times all nilly-willy, you're not in control of your operation. You have to seed the right capacity in the right slot to that trucking company and make sure that you are in control of your network. Because remember, if you hold up the driver, the carrier is going to have to pay their driver more, but ultimately you're on the hook. The biggest shift I want you to take away from this video is that detention is not something that just happens to you. It's not something you create intentionally. It's an operational reality that you have to control. So what's the new normal? What do the best do? Well, the best, their live loads, they're getting in 30 minutes and out. Drops, less than 15 minutes. All because of a coordinated attack offensively with their carrier partners. And yes, you may have certain product that does take longer to load, but pre-staging, getting your ETA, making sure you have dock staff at the ready, that is how you stay ahead. And that is how you play offense and not defense. You fix it by killing wait time. You fix it by collaboration. You fix it by having a digital workflow every step of the way. So it all comes down to one thing. You don't fix detention by getting better at arguing invoices. You fix it by killing the wait time that creates the fee. That gate, that invisible clock, that dreaded paper, and your appointment schedule, that's where the time are leaking. And every one of them is fixable without tearing up how your facility already runs. If you want the receipts, the full breakdown of the facility we did this for is linked right below. And if you're sitting there doing the math on what your own yard is bleeding, that's the conversation we're built for. We are here to help you. The platform and the solutions are linked too. You can book a walkthrough of your facility and we'll show you where your clock is running and that the art of the possible is achievable now. I'm Glenn. Stop paying for time you can stop wasting.